Tell me about yourself. What is your greatest weakness? Why should we hire you? Tell me about a time when you failed. What are your salary expectations? Oh my gosh, if you've been through any interviews in your life, chances are you've been through at least one, if not all five, of these common interview questions. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to answer these questions, what to avoid, and why they ask. So, whether you are a fresh graduate from college, or a CEO, or anywhere in the middle, this video is definitely going to help you. Coming right up. Hey Supercharger, welcome. My name is Sonal Bahl, former HR director and career strategist, and in this channel, I share practical tips to help you stand out so you get that dream job, get promoted, and lead a richer, happier, and more purposeful life. If this is what you're after, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell icon so you do not miss another video, and let's dive in. So in this video, what I've done is I've taken a live training that I did and snippets from that live training which are relevant to these 5 interview questions. So definitely get your cup of tea or coffee, get your notebook and pen, and a couple of things before we get started. Number 1, add your own personality to these answers, your own personal touch, because you don't want to sound like someone you're not. And second is there will be detailed videos for some of these questions that I will include in the description, in the comments, and in the video itself. So with that said, let's dive in, shall we?
So, tell me about yourself. It's like, oh man, like kill me now. Yeah. They ask this question because they want to see what are you like when you get something like this, which is open and uncomfortable. The second reason they ask you this question is they want to know what's important to you. And we'll come to that because the composition of your answer tells them what's important to you. And the third reason, this is a little secret that I bet you didn't know, unless you're a recruiter. And if you're a recruiter, tell me you agree with me, because if you don't agree with me, you're probably lying. When you have back-to-back interviews, do you have time to do your homework and actually read every single resume properly, cover to cover? No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. So you want to be in control of this question and how you answer it. So avoid anything that can come and shoot you in the foot. Personal information, you're married, how old you are. It has absolutely no relevance to the job. The other thing I want to say is avoid selling yourself at this stage too much. Too much. There is a way to do it, and I'll show you how to do it, but don't dive in and start like attacking on the offensive when it might be a bit premature. So, how do you answer this question? There's a driver's seat formula, and I'll explain it to you. There's 4 parts to it. Start with pleasantries. Describe what you do today very briefly, okay? There's a subtle achievement that you sneak in there, which is related to what they are looking for. Very sneaky. And the fourth is, why do you want this job? Right? So pleasantries, when you say, hey, so, chances are it gets down to business really quickly. And you're like, oh, I didn't get any, there was no warm-up time. Sometimes there's no icebreaker. Some people are like that. So if you find that a little uncomfortable, what you can do is very basic pleasantries, no more than a sentence. Say, first of all, if the guy interviewing you is John. John, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for taking time to see me today. I really appreciate it. Done. Do you know what that does? It forces the other person to say, oh, no problem. And when they do that, it gives you a nanosecond to think about your next move. B, describe what you do today. You can say, yes, I'm a senior financial analyst. I've had about 15 years experience. And for the last 3 years, this is what I do. It's to the point. It's very brief. You don't have to get into description of your job. Why? A lot of it will be mentioned in your resume. You don't have to repeat everything there. Now you sneak in a subtle achievement. I'm a financial analyst and I make these reports for senior management. In fact, I'm working on this project today where I'm leading a team of 4 people. And we are working on how big data has an impact on management decisions, key decision making, and the bottom line. Why are you sneaking this in? Are you silly? No, you are smart. You're sneaking it in because you saw in the job description that they are looking for something like that. And you're connecting the dots for them. And if you speak their language, you will even use the same words that they have in the job description. So it's like keyword matching, SEO, but in real life. If I'm the recruiter, ooh, my antenna just went up. I'm listening to you. There is no way I'm sleeping through this. But you kept it brief, right? And finally, why are you here? Why do you want this job? Get into that immediately. What have you done? You've taken control of this entire conversation. That's why I call this the driver's seat formula. Why do they ask you about your weakness and development areas? Why do they do that? They barely know you, and it's such an uncomfortable question, right? It's very simple. They want to know, are there any red flags that they should know about? And they want to know, how well do you know yourself? Which is why one thing you'd never do is you say, I'm actually perfect. Don't do that. Because nobody is. We all have certain flaws, certain weaknesses, certain areas of development. And avoid giving rehearsed responses, canned responses like, I'm a perfectionist, I don't know how to delegate. Don't do that. You know why? These recruiters and interviewers have grown up in their career watching and reading the exact same books and videos, and they can read you like a book. So don't give out those negative, positive, twisted into a negative. Don't do that. The flaw approach, right? What is the flaw approach? It's talk about something that is in the past that you've overcome. Perhaps you used to be scared of public speaking. You're better at it. Age is hard skills. Specific things I've learned. I need to work on Python. I'm currently doing Java, or I'm learning French. We call them hard, but they're actually easy because they're teachable. And law is the slightly more tricky one. Livable, acceptable weaknesses. And that's tricky because you need to know yourself very well, and you need to understand what they're looking for and be able to express it. And this you don't really need to do unless you are really pushed into this corner and people are like getting into this deep psychological type interview and behavioral and want to know your deep, dark secrets, etc. You can talk about something that you're working on. It's not done. But at the same time, it's not going to be a problem. It's not going to self-sabotage you or your chances to get a job. Just like, for example, if you know the role is individual contributor, and if you feel sometimes you have problems with conflicts and you withdraw into a shell, you can say that. But if the role is for a team leader, you cannot say that. So don't do anything that will shoot you in the foot. This is number 3. Why should we hire you? Why did they ask you this question? They want to know, can you sell yourself? Can you influence people? Can you persuade people? So this is your opportunity to shine and say how awesome you are. And the second reason they ask is, if they've had any doubts about you throughout the interview, this is something they usually tend to ask in the end, right? And that can help them to go this way or that way. So you don't want to mess this one up. You want to get this right. The third reason they ask you, and again, this is an honest confession, sometimes the interview is going really well, and recruiters have a very busy mind. They've got deadlines, they have targets, they have things to take care of, they have unhappy bosses. And in all of that brain fog, they forgot to ask about strengths, maybe. This is an opportunity for you to showcase your strengths. You can slide it in somehow. So that's the reason this question is asked. What you want to avoid when you answer this question is talking about you and how much you love this company. Don't do that. This is not about you at all. Ma'am, I've always wanted to work at GE. It's the company of my dreams. But it's not the question. The question is, why should we hire you? And the you is in capitals. They can hire anyone else. Why you? The question isn't, why do you want to work with us? Many times that is misunderstood. So remember that very well. And so Now that we've talked about what to not say, ideally what to avoid, I call this the Kennedy approach. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Now, fill in the blanks, take out country and use my formula. Ask not what your company can do for you. Ask what you can do for your company. Company/position. Now, how do you do that? Break up this sentence. See what I've put in capital letters. Company, you, do. Company is the position. What you need to do is you need to go back and read the job description like 40 times. You're going to be able to read some pain areas. Why does this position even exist? Why do they want to spend money in this position? There's a reason. Find out what that reason is and find out how you can address those pain areas and those gaps, because that is the reason the position exists today. And then you. Now, when I think of you, I think of your unique selling proposition, USP. You've got a unique set of skills and a unique personality that no one else does. In the perfect world, what they're looking for and what you do well, and the part in the middle, that's perfect. That's in the perfect world. That's what there's something you do well and there's something they're looking for. But the reality is there's other people who want the same damn job. Yeah, duh. So because of that, you want to avoid being in the red zone. And the red zone is what I call the zone of failure, which is what other competing candidates do well, but you don't. What you want to focus on is the zone of success, the green part. What is the zone of success? What you do well and what they're looking for and the competing candidates don't have. That is your unique selling proposition, USP. You cannot get this in a 2-minute or 20-minute webinar. You got to think hard. And it's work, but it's worth it. This is the part 3. Do means do some storytelling. Give examples. Massive achievements. This is the time to shine. This is not the time to be humble. And the second thing I want to say is bring something if you can. And we're in COVID days right now, so you may not be able to bring something physical to the meeting. The meeting may be on Zoom. But tell them, may I take your permission to share my screen? Show them some stuff that you've done in any position that you have. If you're a designer, maybe you've done a website. If you're a finance guy, maybe you were a finance guy or finance gal. Maybe you were working on a deal in M&A and the deal is now public. Show them that. Question number 4 is tell me about a time when. This is what is called a behavioral question. How would you be in their company if something like this happened? How would you react? They want to know how, they want to see. They want to gauge, how do you handle stress? And they want to see, do you learn? Do you give up? They can tell. How can they tell? They can see your body language, which speaks louder than words. And they can tell with the examples you choose. If you choose an example which is a little small and cute and you're like, and then it was done, you're like, okay, this person's not yet ready for this type of a role. They're not senior enough. They haven't lived enough. You know what I mean? Tell me about a time that you failed. Tell me about a time there was a crisis, right? What do you want to avoid when you get this type of question? What you want to avoid is, this is a very simple answer. I'm not going to go into detail here. You want to avoid explaining the context too long. And be very careful here, because I used to make this mistake when I was being coached for interviews back in 2009 when I completed my MBA. I was told by my coach that you're giving good answers, but get to the point faster about what you did, because you've painted the picture too long and the interview's coming close to an end. So be in control of the situation. Remember the driver's seat formula. It's actually going to help you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch the replay. So how do you answer this? Problem, action, result. Problem, action, result. This was the problem. Don't spend more than 20-30% of the time explaining it. Action is where you spend time. And the result is the cookie, the cherry on the cake. Beautiful. This is what happened. Great. So I would say do a 30-70 split between P and R, AR. Got it? What is WIDM? WIDM is an acronym of mine that my members of the Supercharged Club know what I'm talking about. WIDM is what you did, WYD, what you did, and IM is impact. We use this formula particularly in resume building because a lot of people talk only about what they did. They don't talk about the impact. And impact can be measured. Not always, but most of the time it can be measured. So when you say the R, the result, make sure there's impact. It's not out of the blue something totally unrelated. Think about how this can help them. Think about how this can help them to make the decision in your favor. What are your salary expectations? So why do they ask this question? They want to make sure they don't waste their time, that there is a fit from the very beginning. What you want to avoid when you are asked about salary expectations, you want to avoid giving a number or a range. So if you are asked this question by default, you know those forms that you have to fill out, ATS, etc., it might come up. My personal advice is to put a dot. If it doesn't accept a dot, put 0. Or if it accepts text, you can write to be negotiated. I have something called a salary approach, but I added an H because I needed an H in there. So for a second, we imagine that we are Sean Connery. So it's a salary approach. So this is Sean Connery and this is a salary approach. Got it? S stands for sell yourself. This is the time to sell yourself so that they absolutely fall in love with you. And you know what? When they fall in love with you, they'll hire you at any cost. Trust me, they make exceptions all the time. They say they are the rules, but they make exceptions are made all the time. I know what I'm talking about. H is holding your ground. When people say, no, but you need to give me a number or a range, it's not easy. You're holding your ground. You're being assertive. It's not easy, but you got to do it as much as you can. A is avoid. Avoid giving number or a range, which I already explained. L is let them negotiate. Let them initiate the topic of money. Don't be the first one to do it. I don't know. I just feel personally, let it come from them. Otherwise, it might come across that you're a bit money-minded or greedy, even if you're not. A is answer with a statement, which is kind of obvious, but what does that mean? Some people are told by certain coaches, when people ask you, what are your salary expectations? You should answer this question with a question. So, what's your budget? What are you willing to pay me? Don't do that. So answer with a statement. Don't answer with a question. It's a little bit cocky for me. R is research. Why? Worst comes to worst. If you're, hand on the fire and you have to be able to give a number, at least you should know what does this mean. In Glassdoor, on payscale.com, on salary.com, talk to headhunter friends. What does a position like this earn in the market? You should know what you're talking about. And why is when you answer this question, your body talks louder than words. So when you answer with a smile, back straight, high energy, and not like, I'm comfortable, it's embarrassing, something to hide. Don't do that. Be confident. It's money. Sure, it's important. It's important to them as well. We talked about the top 5 interview questions. The first one was tell me about yourself. And we said, how do you answer it? Remember, we said the driver's seat formula, where you focus on pleasantries, describe your current role briefly, bring in a subtle achievement, which has something to do with what they're looking for and, their pain area and why do you want this job, right? Then we said, how do you answer the question, what are your weaknesses or your development areas? And how do you answer this? We have the flaw approach, which is talk about something that's in the past, talk about a hard skill. And then if you dare to go there, a livable, acceptable weakness that is not going to shoot you in the foot. Then the third one was why should we hire you? And this was all about the Kennedy approach. And we said, focus on what you can do for the company and what you bring to the table, your unique selling proposition. Remember that graphic we shared? And the do part is very important. Then the fourth one was behavioral questions. Tell me about a time when this happened and that happened and the shizzle hit the fan and what did you do? They want to know that stuff. They want to know because that will happen in their company as well. Are you going to be one of those people that runs for the hills or are you actually going to save the day? They want to know that. And the last one was what are your salary expectations? And we said, how do you answer this? Use the salary approach, which is all about selling yourself, holding your ground, avoiding giving the number and range, etc., etc.